Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Avonlea Chronicles podcast. My name is Martha and I'm here to talk about all things knitting and crafting. It's been a bit of a crazy 2 weeks. I've gotten quite a few projects done and also had some time to visit with family that came over from England. I have a little cousin who I've never met before. He's 9. And he drew this picture of the two of us. He took to me like a moth to a flame. So he drew me this picture and I decided to frame it and it will go up here. I just took it down so I could like show it off. I thought it was so cute. So I have been working on some projects. I finished my Palm Springs tank. So let's talk about it. I knit this in fingering weight. This is the colorway, very demure, very colorful, from Pine and Pearl. It's a fingering weight. And I sort of made some modifications. I did not meet row gauge, which is not as important as meeting stitch gauge. So I kind of went back and forth when I was making this between using the measurements in the pattern and using the row count in the pattern. So this pattern had row count in it. Like if you're meeting row gauge, it should be roughly this many rows. So the front or the back panel, because you start with the back panel, I used the measurements. Then I did the straps and I used the measurements at first. Then I connected the two straps. I put the stitches on for the front and connected the second strap. And then I was showing it off at knitting and my mom's like, that looks pretty tiny. Is it gonna fit over your head? And I put it over my head and even though I had barely gotten anything done, it was just the back panel, the straps, and then the stitches for the front neck. It was going to be quite high up. So we decided at knitting that I should rip out the straps and do the row count instead, which, because my row gauge was off and I was knitting less rows and making the same measurements, by doing the row count, I would have longer straps. So I did. And I think the neckline is perfect. Then front panel, I did the measurements. Then I added I joined the front and back panels with the stitches for the underarms. And then I knit a few rounds and then I went and I did the finishing work for the neck and armbands. You have to pick up stitches, like it's quite loose. So you have to pick up stitches and she says about pick up 2 for every 3 stitches. So you pick up stitches, you knit a bunch, and then you fold it over and you do a sewn bind off for the hem. But it is so beautiful. Look at that. The only thing is that somewhere here there's a little, you can just see just barely a slight pucker. It's not nice and flat like that, but it's on a part where you don't notice. But the finishing work is just so good. So I did all that finishing work because I think it makes a difference when you're trying it on. And then I went and did the body. Now I knit for the 9.5 inches and I tried it on and it was like a crop top. And then I knit the 95 rows because I was about 80 rows at 9.5 inches. So I knit 15 more rows. It still was pretty short. So I knit some more rows and got it to a nice length. You will not see the length on here because I don't have the space for that. But I think it turned out really nice and I'm so pleased with it. So that was one thing that I got off the needles. Then, because I needed the needle size I was using for this, I needed for my cowl, I then quickly whipped up a cowl in like 2 days I had the ribbing done already, and then I needed that particular needle size for the body of the cowl. So I got the stitch pattern I wanted, designed this little cowl. This is for my 4-season collection. So this will be coming out in September, and I will talk more about it on the next podcast. But it's done. And now all patterns for my 4-season collection are finished. This is the fall pattern. The winter pattern is done. And yeah, I have a little schedule of all my patterns to be released up until the end of 2025. So I'm so pleased that like all my work knitting is done. And then I've just been plugging away at other patterns. Oh, I also did a cross stitch. I'm not showing it. It's very meaningful, and it's going to be for someone's birthday. So I'm not showing it because it's finished and it's wrapped, but I also snuck that in there, and I can't wait to give it to them. What I've been working on now is this little number. This is my gratitude shawl, but it's knit in Acacia Air Luxe, and I just have 2 balls of this. It's 50 grams. It's fingering weight, and it's just been like my little project to take with me wherever. So this is what I've been working on because it's pretty mindless. And once it's done, I will do a little Ravelry page on it, on my gratitude shawl pattern, so you can see what it looks like knit up in a different yarn weight, because the gratitude shawl is knit in a bulky weight yarn, and this is fingering weight. So I've been working on that. I also have made great strides. I think the last time I podcasted, I was running off to church and I took this with me. And I made a mistake somewhere and I did not have the right stitch count. And I came home and I tried to keep like carefully taking back 1 or 2 rows at a time and then redoing them, and I wasn't getting the right stitch count. So I ripped out the entire thing and I restarted, and last week I think I got like the whole ball finished, the whole first ball finished, and then I added the second ball. You can see where I added the second ball, because, which is about here, because there is purple all throughout this second ball, and it has less, it's got less of like the white base and chunks of purple. I don't know that it's showing up really well on camera, but this is the Ferns Echo pattern by my friend Steph. This has really like challenged my crochet abilities because it took forever for me to like get the right stitch count when I did each row. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is driving me insane. And it's really hard because my friend Steph does not live here. She lives in Alberta. And so we were having to signal back and forth, sending videos and talking. And the one day she was like, put a stitch marker on the first half double crochet of each row and the last half double crochet of the row. And then when you do your 2 single crochets and you turn, you're going to put your first half double crochet back in that last stitch of the row. And what I was doing was putting the first, like, chain 2, turn, half double crochet in the same stitch. I was actually half double crocheting in the first stitch of the row. So once we got that all sorted out, I was off to the races, and I've been off to the races, and it's fine. I did think it wasn't going to be long enough, but when I was doing when I had my first ball and I was like about halfway, I weighed it. I was just over halfway done the first ball and I measured it and times that measurement by 4. And I was like, okay, it'll be around 70-ish inches, which is about the same size as my Wrapped in Love shawl. So it's gonna be fine. I have been loving working on this, and I have to keep going because I'm close. I can see the finish line. So been working on that, but I can only work on that at home. I don't know why I can't take it out and do it, but I screwed up the last time. Next up, now that I've finished my tank, I've finished my work knitting, I am going to go back to my sweater. I left the pattern over on my couch, but I started this last year and I am working on the yoke. It will be a nice cardigan. It is quite woolly wool, but I think it will soften up and it will be nice for those like cold winter days. But I have not been working on this. It has also been hot as heck here. And so who wants to be working on something this thick when it's super hot? But now that I've done all my other things, I'm going to get back to this. It will probably be a weekend project for me to start because I have to like reorient myself with the pattern. Thankfully, I take notes and mark my rows in a notebook so I know exactly where I am. I'm just gonna have to like get back into reading that pattern, but hopefully by maybe Thanksgiving, I will have a nice cardigan to wear. But yeah, it's been too hot to wear really anything lately. So that has been what I've been working on. I got some mail and I've been working on my granny squares. So I started the other night doing more circles. I'm using the HGDC, sort of her method for organizing my granny squares. I'm doing 10 circles per color and keeping them organized in here. So I started with the purple color and then lavender. And those two colors I think will end up being my joining colors. And then I have these 3 colors, but what I ordered came in. I ordered these from Central Pearl. It used to be called the Creative Knitter, and Stephanie was great. I had sent her a message and said, I asked when a certain color was coming back in stock, but then I said I also would like some advice, color advice. This is what I'm doing. And I sent a screenshot of one of the pages of the pattern that had different pictures of the granny square bag. And I said, I have purple and lavender, and I'm gonna use one of those colors as my joining color. I have lagoon blue, electric pink, and bright orange. I was thinking of these other colors. So these are what I got. This is bright coral, primrose, zest, lemongrass, rainforest, and denim. So between these 9 colors, I think I have quite a nice little rainbow to work with for making like a truly granny square project. These also are super affordable. They're $6.99 Canadian. So it was like around $50 for those colors. But I want something that's super granny square-ish, and I'm using acrylic so it will hopefully be a little more durable, and I hate to say I won't care as much. I care about everything that I work on and make, but I don't want to be using a $30 skein of acrylic or a $30 skein of hand-dyed yarn for a crossbody bag that I'm going to be wearing, and it'll be all over the place and out and about. So yeah, I'm just pulling out the patterns. I have everything kind of organized in little bags. This is what I'm making. Let me just find a page with some pictures. Oh, I think this was the page that I had sent a picture of. Like, it's just truly a granny square project. She's used black for her joining colors, which I think is like super classic. Purple is my thing, so I am going to use either the lavender or the purple color. And then Heather came out with the comfort pouches. I have also been waiting for this pattern to come out. I'm part of her sub squad, so I think 4 times a year you get a pattern, and there's just like a little community. I'm not into the whole like being on message. Like, I think they have chat in a messaging app. I don't use that, so I'm just here for the patterns, but I'm loving supporting another maker and working on my crochet skills and tackling granny squares. So I use zippered pouches like this all the time from the dollar store. So I'm super excited to be able to make some of my own. I'm thinking of doing the crossbody bag with the joining color of purple, which is the dark purple color, just to be a little more classic. And then I'm thinking for the pouches, my join color will be lavender. So I'm super stoked about that. I'm just kind of slowly plugging away at this. My idea of like how to strategically make my granny squares is spend the time to make 10 centers in every color. And then, I think I was talking about this last time, I would take, say, lemongrass, and I would go and do this like a round, because it's only a 3 round granny square, but your 3rd round is the join color. So I would take lemongrass and I would do round 2 on purple, round 2 on lavender, round 2 on bright orange, electric pink, lagoon blue, and I would do a granny square where round 2 is done in lemongrass. Then I would take rainforest and do the same thing. So then I know that I'm getting like one of every granny square combination that I can get. So that's the idea. I'm running with it, and I'm just kind of plugging away at this. Now that I have all these other colors as well, I'm thinking that it's not super portable. I can't have 11 colors in this tote bag. But when I was trying to do this and make my circles with purple, I couldn't pull from the center and it was just awful. So I ended up having to hand roll the ball. And now I've been doing this with lavender, trying to pull from the center, and like, it was kind of hard. Things were a little tangled. I'm about to have some yarn barf. I tried pulling the centers from the first 3 colors, and then I had to wrap them around. So I'm thinking I might spend some time, put a movie on, and just over a couple of days do like a couple at a time, but hand roll every ball into like 2 balls, and then have one bag with all the colors, and that can stay at home, and then have another bag with all the colors in my tote bag, And then they're just hand rolled, they're smaller balls, because the size difference between my hand rolled balls and like this, like that's a big difference. I know this purple is in 2 balls because it had been cut, but it's kind of a big difference. And I don't need the whole ball. I won't be using the whole ball. So that's what I'm thinking of doing. And then I could have a whole set of colors in here. And if I was going out somewhere and I wanted to take this with me, I can just grab the whole bag and I have all the colors and I can be working on centers or round 2. So that's kind of my little thought plan. And that's really been everything. I have an idea for another design. I kind of have finished all my designs for the year. For now, I have a set. I'm just like looking at my yarn trunk. I have a set of yarn. It's Anne of Green Gables. I have an idea for a little collection, but I'm not really ready to work on that yet. But I also have had a design come through, but I need to talk to somebody else about that first because it involves their yarn, and that's all I'm gonna say about that. So, but it's kind of scary. I've not sent an email yet to the person because I'm like, I don't have anything to show them because the way I design is picking up the yarn and just knitting and figuring it out. So, yeah. So I have to do that at some point. Put my big girl panties on and send them a message. And that's really all that I've been working on. And yeah, we're gearing up for school in a week. So I'm glad that I've got all my work knitting done. I've been doing some stuff behind the scenes on the website, and I'll talk about that more in the next podcast. But yeah, things have just been trucking along. There might be a little sneaky pattern release between now and September 20th when the cowl will come out, but I'm not sure yet. But yeah, that is everything. I'm gonna go clean this up now and get to work on some knitting or some website stuff and try and get it all finished before we go back to school. So I will see you again in 2 weeks.